I want you to be able to access abortion for any reason on demand. There is no right way to look at that. There is no wrong way to look at that. There's no good story. There's no better situation or worse situation. You can get an abortion for whatever reason as long as you want it. That's it.
My name is Qu'emi. My pronouns are they, them.
I grew up in Miami. We were a military family, so we moved around a little bit. Watching TV, looking at magazines, I definitely had impressions about what I was lacking and what I was supposed to, present as, and how I was going to grow into these ideas of what womanhood looked like specifically. That did not happen. I felt like for a long time that it was something that was eventually going to happen. I was going to grow up and I was going to be a woman and be like, yes, that's what it is. It never happened. And at some point, you're 20 and you're like, oh, no, still don't identify with that. Oh, I'm not a girl. That's a thing. I was seeing my high school sweetheart. We both went to the same college. We were very on and off. The condom broke. We realized that the condom broke. I immediately was like, we need to grab a plan B. We go buy a plan B, and I take it within an hour of realizing that the condom was broken. Didn't matter. My birthday was coming up. I was going to turn 20. It was a whole thing. No period. As soon as I found out I was pregnant, I felt incredibly nauseous. I don't like the fact that I have a uterus. It's something that I would prefer not to have. A lot of my dysphoria comes from having a uterus. The closest thing we could find was a Planned Parenthood. We called, we made an appointment, but I was so nervous. It took a week to even get one. Florida had just passed a bill as well where you had to have a transvaginal ultrasound before and after your abortion. I was an anxious mess. I didn't want people in my business. I chose a medication abortion versus a surgical one. It was about $100 cheaper, and I did not have money. It was $500. That is nothing to sneeze at. That was rent. When I went to the clinic, and this is in, 2011? There wasn't a time or space on your paperwork to put your pronouns, your preferred name. None of that was there. Nobody thought about those things. These clinicians, these nurses, the staff that wants to help me, but they can't get pronouns right. It's weird and uncomfortable because I wasn't there to give a lecture or a lesson on, diversity and inclusivity. I was there to get an abortion. So they give you a bag of pills. You immediately feel nauseous. You immediately start glutting. I was in pain, and I was kind of stuck in bed, rocking around for at least a week. I ended up quitting my part-time job because I couldn't make it to work. If I couldn't access an abortion and had to carry that to term, I would not be alive, period. I absolutely would have found a way to kill myself. There's absolutely no way that I would have been a pregnant person. And I had a fellowship, a 6-month fellowship with Planned Parenthood after having an abortion because I remembered how significant of an experience I had, and I thought that I could elevate them a bit by coming in there as a transgender person, as a non-binary person, and saying, you need to clear your accessibility a little bit more. You need to have pronoun options, you need to have preferred name options. And I definitely helped a couple clinics come out with better paperwork. I did a couple trainings, and it was really nice to see how well received that information was. I want us to be able to have open conversations like this about abortion. I want us to say, I'm trans, I had an abortion, this is what it looked like, I felt these ways, and this is how I came out of that. I don't feel like there's enough conversation around trans and gender non-conforming people and reproductive health. Even sexuality, I feel like we're often desexed. We are not allowed to talk about our bodies. And a lot of the times, a lot of us feel like we can't talk about our own bodies. Like we're having really complicated relationships with the bodies that we're in, and we may choose to change them. For a living, I full-time run an erotic boutique in Hollywood. It is a really rewarding experience. I get to work with my community. I get to help people out. I get to erase the shame around sexual wellness and identities.
As if sex, the only purpose of sex is to procreate.
No. As someone who does not want kids, I feel like we really needed to have a conversation about what pleasure looks like.
It's hard enough to talk about gay sex, but also talking about trans sex and trans bodies and what that may look like. But there are a bunch of different kinds of forms, and there are different ways to navigate that. Hey, what are you interested in doing? Hey, what are your hard no's? What are your hard yeses? What do you want me to call your body parts? What do you not like? How do you like to be touched? Show me how you like to be touched.
I want everybody to have that experience.
Everybody deserves to have good sex like that, if they want to have sex. But everybody deserves to have that kind of intimacy. I find that incredible. I'm hoping more that my story is for other trans and gender non-conforming folks. I want to facilitate that for my community. I don't tell my abortion story for cis people. I tell my abortion story for trans and gender non-conforming people. I tell that story for my own, so that way we can see that there are examples of folks going through navigating the same difficult journeys that they are, and that it's okay